Hi, my name is Mitch, or my handle is Pilski, and I'm a freelance broadcast talent. Usually I act as a commentator or a desk analyst, and I provide either commentary over gameplay in various games, or I provide kind of analysis after the fact about, tactics or building storylines or other various things related to, a tournament or an event. Mainly, I'm a tactical FPS kind of guy, so Counter-Strike, Valorant, are kind of the main ones I do right now. But actually in the past, I've done a lot of different games. So Starcraft, Magic the Gathering, like Arena, Warcraft 3, World of Tanks, probably forgetting some. I've worked on a lot of different events across different titles. So things like IEM, Intel Extreme Masters, ESL 1, DreamHack, and also some like VCT, Valorant stuff, so like Game Changers, Ascension, that kind of stuff. Not only in person, but also overseas. I did the math and I've worked on events that are based in like 20 different countries and across 10 different regions. And it's been like more than 10 countries that I've traveled to for work now. So I've been very lucky over the last 8 or 9 years or so to work on a lot of really good products, a lot of like S-tier products. When I was literally like 4 years old or 5 years old or something, I got sat on a PC and was playing like the original Starcraft, and I grew up playing a lot of those Blizzard games before I started doing other things. Being able to, many years later, after I had not really even touched Starcraft for a long time, since like many expansions ago, but I'd still kind of watched it casually and kept up with it. It was nice to be able to have like a full circle moment of like casting it, especially because I started casting it at a point where like I feel like people had no expectations of me. Like they were like, he's someone who casts like shooting games, so he probably doesn't know. It's like a pretty in-depth game, you can't just randomly jump into it and be like, what, I know what's going on. There are some games that you can cast, like you can jump in and be like, oh yeah, I can kind of cast this. Like if you already cast shooting games and you start casting another shooting game, you can do an okay job. I wouldn't say like a good job if you have like high standards or anything, but for like the mass audience, you can still make it somewhat engaging. But like dropping into an RTS like Starcraft, or even recently I was dropped into casting Super Smash Brothers, which I had never played or seen before, and I pulled an all-nighter to try and learn it and do a decent enough job, and I think I did okay. But for like the 1% audience that knows, they'll probably be like, what is this guy on about? The best country that I've worked in and the most exciting event and country that I've worked in by far is Australia. The Sydney, the IEM events in Australia, it just hits different. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, especially purist CS fans that like to see teams that are not on 20 hours of jet lag and don't care about someone making like a beer snake the size of the crowd, or like shouting obscenities or doing crowd interaction and that kind of thing. They might not enjoy the Australian events as much, to be honest. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think from a general entertainment perspective and being able to work the crowd and being able to do big like arena casts on home soil is by far the most exciting thing that I've worked on, and the best experience for sure. There are great things happening, but there are also a lot of things missing. So like we've had like very big like arena events or very big events happening here, which have been fantastic, but also a lot of the domestic ecosystem has been eroded to the point where everything's online and there are not very many actual grassroots or middle level domestic events happening anymore, which are super important. I would like to see more domestic organizers putting their money where their mouth is, and there are a few good examples of that already on a more grassroots level, where there are, I'll point to people like Defrag and some guys like that, where they do some more grassroots events which are great for the community. But there also needs to be now some middle level things coming out. Like we used to have ANZ Champs finals, or we used to have like ACL, like nationals and things like that. I don't know if local lands and those mid-level domestic events are like a relic of the past anymore, and they're just not something that people want. But yeah, it's in an interesting spot because I feel like there's like a little bit of stuff at the bottom and there's like a chunk in the middle missing, and then at the top we're getting arena events as well as more international opportunities for Australian teams than we've ever seen before. So in some ways amazing, never been better, and in some ways never been worse. It's kind of weird. I think a lot of my career has been like right place, right time, and I didn't do the traditional route of like grinding through online broadcasts into doing talent work. So I didn't have to do a lot of the things that people will do to be able to be broadcast talent. Like you have to stream, and nowadays it's so different because like when I started, I went from being a player who competed into doing studio broadcasts straight away, and then I just kind of never stopped doing them. And it was actually only in COVID that I even had to start doing bedroom broadcasts at all. I was only doing studio work. So I kind of had the backwards approach, but even nowadays, I don't think I would ever make it as a caster because like I don't do content. I don't really do social media stuff very well. It's still something that I have to improve a lot. And I feel like half of you being a caster these days is not even about the craft or how good you are on the broadcast, but it's about like your personality and your brand and all these things that I'm pretty terrible at. So I would say I would be a bad person to listen to advice from, but I have given people, I have had actually people approach me and ask me similar questions to this, and I've given them like very practical answers about maybe more so like networking is very important, knowing the right people, and just polishing yourself and doing a really, really good job on what you work on, and just being enthusiastic and loving the game. Like I know it's like, it's not really cool to try these days, but like trying and like differentiating yourself from other people, just being yourself, having your own style, not like taking things that other people do well and incorporating them into your own style is fine, but like definitely don't just try to copy what somebody else does. Having your own style and being your own person and differentiating yourself from other people is super important, but at the same time kind of polishing and taking what other people do well and incorporating that into what you do is really good as well. Every year, like, will I even be in esports like this year, or do I have to start to take a more traditional path because I do have like opportunities that I can reach for in those areas? It depends on the day. It depends on the day, because like if you asked me at the end of last year, I would have told you esports will be my side project and I'm gonna have to do a more traditional career, and I will still do the thing what I enjoy being passionate about. But if you ask me today, and this is only very recently, it's full-time esports, and I'm not doing a side project, and I've got a lot of stuff to do this year. So thanks for watching Spotlight, and if you want to check out some of my social medias below, my Twitter, also known as X, also known as whatever else it will be renamed to soon, is Pilski Cast, which will probably be the same name when we move to another platform. And yeah, make sure you check out the next episode.